Eastern PA Weather 30 meteorologist Bobby Marchich here with your outlook for September 27th, 2017. Maria is still going to be hanging around the North Carolina coastline. Very broad wind field with this, even though it's not showing much in the way of precipitation on the eastern shores of North Carolina and the Outer Banks. The wind field extended with this is pretty large, so you're getting tropical storm force winds well away from the center. And that is typical of a system that was once more compact and has now started, the wind field has spread out a little bit as this thing started to weaken. But tropical storm force wind gusts will be felt even inland across North Carolina. I don't think it gets up into our area here as far as tropical storm force, but we will have some gusty winds still remaining along the coastal regions, maybe 25 or thereabout, but we will have rip currents to deal with. And that is going to be probably straight through Thursday. We have rip currents that are going to be all up and down the east coast here, right along the shore points, and that's going to be for some dangerous surf. So if you only experience swimmers only, and if you're in a red flag area, obviously you can't go in the water at all. But we'll be warm today, warm enough to go in the water if it wasn't for that. Maria will be kind of meandering here today and then start pulling away tomorrow. If you look off to our west here, we have a trough coming in. This is a cold front that's going to be a dry cold front coming through overnight, and that's going to do nothing really, not even really introduce too much in the way of cloud cover overnight. Probably have just mostly clear to partly cloudy skies overnight as this front makes its way through. You will have a wind shift, though, going from light northeasterly today, picking up and being a little bit breezy tomorrow. We'll call it like 12 to 18 with higher gusts on Thursday, but you'll definitely feel a change from what we've been seeing recently. And here's that system moving away to the east or east-northeast, away from our region. And this is just the first shot of cooler air. We're going to have temperatures are going to be back into the 70s on Thursday for highs, probably low to mid 70s depending where you're at, and then a little bit cooler on Friday. Then we have this little shortwave up here in the Great Lakes that's going to be on the lead of a secondary trough that's going to come in most likely Friday night. Most of this is Friday night where you could have a few showers. And you can see that here. Here's overnight Friday night, and then maybe lingering in a few spots into Saturday morning until this pulls away, and then becoming mostly sunny behind it, because right behind it here you see a big H. This is high pressure, dry air, sinking air, and that means we're going to return to mostly sunny skies on Saturday afternoon. Further east, it might be a little bit longer to dry out in those areas, but we do expect that you will dry out at some point on Saturday. This is not an all-day thing, and this is not a heavy rain threat here on Saturday either. So most likely just an early morning thing for the interior locations, maybe hang into closer to noon or maybe early afternoon further eastward, but that should be about it. And then that moves off the coast. And after that, we are going to be under high-pressure control for several days, with cooler temperatures this weekend, but it's just slightly below average. We're not talking about anything noteworthy, not cold by any means, but definitely a lot cooler than what we've seen recently. And then that will start to moderate as we head into early next week as high pressure moves off to our east. You can see that here. But we're, again, not expecting any precipitation in this next 7 to 10 day period. We could certainly use some rainfall. We haven't had any in a while. I know where we had an abundance of rain over the summer to fall back on, so we're not talking about drought situations, but we can certainly see some areas that are starting to see the grass turn brown and not really growing much as of late, because as a result of that lack of moisture. And that does look to include continue for a while. As far as temperatures, this is a 2 meter temperature anomaly, so this is looking at temperatures in relation to what they should be for this time of year, above average or below average. Anything in oranges and reds are going to be above normal temperatures. The darker the red, the higher above normal it is. Anything in the white is neutral, and anything in the blues and greens are going to be below average. So we move this through time. This is looking at today. Move this through time. You can see that moving through. With that front comes through, and then we get to Thursday and Friday, and you can see the blue setting over area. This is slightly below average temperatures for our region, and that is expected from Friday onward. Here's Saturday, and then once we get to the weekend, over the weekend, Saturday into Sunday, we're talking about some of these greens popping up here on the map here. That's going to below normal, even more so than just slightly. So probably a couple days stuck in the 60s in some places, both Saturday and Sunday. I do think maybe down here by Philadelphia you might reach 70, and that's it. Might not get into the 60s for highs. We'll see. But this is going to be a short-lived transient shot of cool air as we get into the following week. Once you get past Monday and get into Tuesday, you start seeing some of the warmer air starting to creep in. But the highest anomalies above normal would be to our northwest. So although we will get warm, I don't see this being another push of incredibly warm air. You can see this just slightly above average temperatures as we head into toward the middle of next week, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. We start increasing again. And temperatures are going to be, relative to this time of year, are not going to be as hot as they were this time with this next wave. So you're seeing a lot of social media posts about a big heat wave or a big torch coming in the beginning of October. This is not a heat wave. This is not a torch. This is relative to the beginning of October. So although we might go back into the 80s, maybe lower 80s or maybe middle 80s down here by Philadelphia on 1 or 2 of those days, we're really not talking about 90s anymore. I think we can put that to rest now. Would not be out of the question, but I don't really see that right now. It looks like we're just going to be heading back to above normal temperatures. We're in the upper 70s to low 80s for most areas, and that's it. But we'll cross that bridge when we get here from the middle of the next week onward. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Marchich. That is your outlook for September 27th, 2017. Have a great Wednesday.